ESPN's Scott Van Pelt, golf host, Sports Center anchor, lanky, good with about a 15 to 18-foot jumper, and Scott joins us now on the program from Augusta. Is that true about Amen Corner? Is that how they came up with that name?
Yeah, amen. But that's you're a few holes down the line. You get into it back down there 11, 12, 13. But it's you know it. First nine, second nine. What'd you shoot here? What would you shoot, Dan?
83 first day, 81 second day.
Yeah, that's better than most.
I actually brought in my scorecards. I brought in some photos from when I played it. It was over 20 years ago. And a couple of shots there on 13, one on 12. Yeah, I was tearing it apart there a little bit. There was some roar. There were some roars when I was playing there, Scotty.
Rattling around in the Georgia pines.
They Dan-proofed it after I shot an 81 there.
That's what the legend had. Yeah, that it's haven't been here. It's special. I mean, we get guilty sometimes. You get syrupy, the language and this and that. But honestly, it's a place that puts you in a state of mind that really, truly, it lends itself to that. It's just there's nothing else like this place in sports. Cameron's awesome for a basketball game. Fog Allen, awesome for a basketball game. Wrigley, Fenway, whatever your flavor is. But ultimately, those are basketball arenas and baseball stadiums, and there are many of them. This is the only one of these that there is, and there is nothing that even comes close to approximating it. So that's why you get the hush tones and the Nance music that you all heard at his home there in Pebble. All of it makes sense. It all goes together.
Do you do a Jim Nance impersonation?
Who doesn't?
Okay, Seton, hit the music for Scott Van Pelt as he brings us on the air at CBS.
Hello, friends. Alongside Sir Nick Faldo here in the Butler cabin. Let's go out to the action on Azalea. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's it. Right. It's subtle. It's all you need.
Yeah.
It's a three. It's bottoms. Then you go back and play defense.
But I like how you went Sir Nick. Like you got to go Nick Faldo. Sir Nick Faldo.
Yeah. There's the enunciation. He is a brilliant broadcaster, as we know, and he's got all these little subtle gears where there's an enthusiasm and yet there's a hush tone. I mean, that's hard to do. It's hard to show the enthusiasm while at the same time the voice goes down, but yet he's excited. I don't know.
I want you to listen to this is our leader in the clubhouse, James from Los Angeles. And he went off script a little bit. This is Jim Nance preparing to go on the air at CBS.
Absolutely. Gary McCord drives the Maroon. Studebaker, Dottie Pepper, ubiquitous Nightingale. Camera there. Thank you, 45 seconds. Fred Couples has a supple spine. Juniper, Nick Faldo's trousers, Ian Baker Finch. Effervescence is the undulations. Curvature, just moments ago.
Wow.
What do you think?
Thank you, 30.
Wow, this is someone that spent a great deal of time preparing, but that gentleman aced the test. That's brilliant. I wouldn't even have dropped an Azalea if I heard it. Why would I have even pulled out the driver? Why would I have even bothered?
Fred Couples has a supple spine.
Supple spine. Right. Freddie Couples' spine is anything but supple at this point. God love him. He's still out there shooting numbers. It's incredible.
All right, recap day one. The highlight, low light, or what?
Spieth was remarkable. Just that stretch where he just went 5 birdies in a row, and there was a period there, Dan, in the late afternoon where it was absolute perfection here, where it got warm enough. It was cool in the morning. It got warm. The greens were maybe a little bit softer and more receptive as a result, and there was not a breath of wind, and Spieth took advantage. And given what he's done here, and he gets to 7, and you start thinking, man, he might do that thing where he runs away. Then he makes a mistake off the tee on 18, makes bogey, and then he starts today with a double, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, that was kind of silly to think that we'd be, beyond it. But the obvious low light was, Sergio, the man made a 13, and I mean, I said on the air, and it's a bad golf joke, but it's like, how'd you make a 13? Well, I made a hell of a 10-footer, and he had to. I mean, he had to make a long putt to make 13, and afterwards, I mean, he said without saying, that what happened was maybe borderline unfair, because he just said, you saw what happened. I had a 13 and I didn't miss a shot, and the ball just didn't want to stop. And so, I mean, it's not the first time that that's happened. But again, as a man that that shot the kind of scores out here that had them reconfiguring the golf course, Dan, that you're just an inch away from something awful happening. And I just thought it was incredible. The last time Sergio played that hole, he had a 3, and it propelled him to a win. And then the next time he played it, he had a 13. The disparity is rarely 10 shots on the same hole.
But now his daughter's named after the 13th hole, not the 15th hole, right?
Right, because Firethorn's a tough name to walk through life with.
But Azalea is okay. So he had a 13 on 15, not a 15 on 13. Okay, I just want to make sure we had that. Now,
that's the accounting. Yeah.
I thought Tony Finau, if that was another golfer, if that was Rory or Spieth or Justin Thomas, it would be the number one story. Not enough people know about Tony Finau, unless you watched Big Break on Golf Channel or something. But it was pretty incredible with what he did. You snapped your ankle back into place and you shoot a 4 under there.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, and he's such a good young man and such a likable guy who I've enjoyed getting a chance to know over the few years that he's been out here playing. And I mean, and he was in the Butler cabin, and I asked him, the doctor question, 0 to 10, what was it? And he said, oh, it was a 10. It was excruciating. He said, but I had to finish, and I was just incredulous. I'm like, why? It was a par 3 contest. And he said something that actually was interesting. It made sense. He said, I had to figure out, like, can I make a swing, even a half swing with a wedge? Like, can I do that? So he did finish, but you're 100% right. And I felt like it was the story of the day, if Spieth's won here, he's a star and he shoots that score. So that becomes the headline because he's leading. But for Finau to play and to play that well, and I said, you're batting 1,000, you played one round and you're in the Butler cabin, that, come back on Sunday. Obviously that's when you want to be there, when Jim's there with the supple spine and the green jacket. But Finau's awesome. He's a great guy. He's got a ton of talent, and you're right. He popped it back into place as routinely as, I don't even know what the analogy is, but he just was like, oh, yeah, here, let me get this pop, and back on you go. I was amazed.
Yeah, I thought you did a great job. I saw the interview live, and I mean, he's loquacious. He was telling you that he didn't know if he was going to be able to play or not, but hey, it's my first time here, and you shoot a 4 under is pretty impressive. We're talking to Scott Van Pelt from the Mothership. All right, Tiger Woods is playing in competition on Sunday. If what?
If he does what he did yesterday, he played well. He missed about 4 putts that he's been making all year round. All he has to do is play as well as he did yesterday, and he'll be in the mix because he was, again, about 3 or 4 putts away from being on the right side of par. And the other sort of golfy thing to look at is the par 5s. He didn't birdie 1 par 5 yesterday. Jordan Spieth was 5 under par on the par 5s yesterday. So Woods has got to play the par 5s better. Just clean up a couple of more, short putts, and he'll be in the mix. And I think he will be.
Yeah, I always tell these guys when we start talking about the Masters, I said you got to win the par 5s because if you win the, you everybody has to. You got to kill the par 5s there. And if you don't, then, I think we'll look back on who's winning and who's not, and you're going to see people doing damage on the par 5s.
Well, especially when there's guys like look at the people like Dustin Johnson or Bubba or Justin Thomas hits it a long way, or you could do it the Zach Johnson way. You can lay up and be a great wedge player and make birdies. But you're 100% right. Whatever you do, you've got 4 really good scoring opportunities on those holes. You have to birdie them. And also, I think, Dan, history will tell us you cannot make a 13 on one of them. I don't think that has ever worked out. 13 is not in the recipe book.
When's the last time you played Augusta?
It's been many, many, many years. I got a chance to walk with the late great Jim Huber, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And he, of course, was a great broadcaster for so many years. And but it's been, I don't even know, it's been longer than 15 years ago. And there's there's a member that's been kind enough to invite me out. The schedule's never worked, and it's been a couple of times that I said no, and I was told subtly, I've never had to ask more than once, and so I have failed in getting out here again. But hopefully someday again, and I'll shoot for those scores of yours, Dan.
What's the nightlife like down there?
It's Augusta National. It's hopping. It's amazing because it's this week. There's incredible hospitality on like the highest end. We're with our friends from Wheels Up. If you're into the private aviation game, they threw a big shindig last night. I actually introduced Gary Nicklaus to the crowd. He's the king of the Masters. GT, Jack's grandson that made the hole in one. He's up there on stage playing guitar and singing. And
wow.
It's a whole lot of middle-aged guys on expense account that have had way too much bourbon that want to take pictures. It's a treat.
Is John Daly set up shop there?
Oh sure. JD's just parked there at Hooters. Got the bus out front, signing stuff. It's true. JD just sets up shop on Washington and parks the bus, signs some stuff, and he's living his best life this week.
When are you on today? I mean, you're always on.
3 bells.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As Van Roll Wright once told me, Dan, the red light is always on. 3 o'clock in the Butler cabin, we come on the air. But, they're doing highlights and updates all morning long on SportsCenter, which is fun. It's nice to be able to give people a small taste of what it is they want, which is just to see some golf from out here. So you can catch those highlights between now and then, and we come on at 3 o'clock.
Van Roll Wright. Over the wall in left field. A legend.
Did you steal his stuff back in the day? Is that how you became who you became?
Yeah, Earl was doing that on Headline Sports, and we thought
CNN Headline Sports.
Yeah, but nobody was taking what Earl was dishing out. I wasn't going to steal it because I didn't think I could pull it off.
Understood.
Yeah, Van Earl Wright. Hey, thank you, Scott. Great to talk to you. Thanks for the text earlier this week.
Yes, indeed. You're my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Scott Van Pelt.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.